I want to talk today about something that is super relevant for working moms, especially during busier seasons like the holidays, and that is burnout. Burnout is a state of mental, physical, or emotional exhaustion due to extreme stress. Now, I don't only want to give you signs that you may be in burnout or leading up to it, but I want to equip you with some things that you can do to prevent or work your way out of burnout. My name is Angie. Welcome to my channel, Quiet Confident Woman. My passion is truly supporting women and building confidence, especially introverted women. And I love supporting you in building a life and a business around what brings you joy. If you love what you hear, make sure to subscribe and share with a friend or two. And if you don't already receive emails, you definitely want to go into the notes below and sign up for those emails. Before we dive into some prevention strategies, let's look at maybe some signs or symptoms of burnout. It could be several different things, but these are some of the more common ones. One would be difficulty sleeping, low energy, frequent headaches, a weakened immune system, which causes you to get sick quite often, short temper, lack of motivation, procrastination, and even changes in your eating habits. Burnout is something that can creep up gradually versus just happen overnight. So it's important to look at trends over time, whether it's a course of a month or a course of a year, and see if anything's changed. Now, if you're saying, Angie, I always procrastinate, that might just be who you are. It might not be a sign for you that that's a burnout. But if you typically don't procrastinate and you have found yourself procrastinating a lot in the last month, or maybe not keeping commitments like you typically would, that could be a sign that you are starting to get burnt out. Now, also keep in mind, all of these symptoms can be signs or symptoms of other medical concerns. Check with your doctor if you're experiencing any of these. We don't want to overlook things and chalk it up to something that it's not. So definitely speak to your doctor as well. Okay, now that we've talked about some things to look at, let's talk about some prevention strategies. The first one I want to dive into is self-care. And if you know me at all, you know that I very much promote self-care. Now, self-care, a lot of people think of because of what they watch or what they see, that taking an hour bath is self-care, or maybe snuggling up with a blanket next to a fire and reading a book is self-care, or meditating is self-care. They all are. They all are. But you might not have the personality where you feel spending an hour in a bath is self-care. That might stress you out and make you feel more anxious on edge. The important thing with self-care is to know you and to know what kind of refuels and resets you, something that allows you almost to take a step back to take a step forward in the future. So if you're thinking a bath is not going to cut it for me, but a hike in the woods would, then take a hike in the woods. If you feel snuggling up in front of a fire with a blanket is really just not going to do anything, maybe it's taking a jog around the block. Go do that instead. So whatever it is that refuels and resets you, that is your self-care. And the important thing is to know you and to plug into what fuels you for self-care. The other thing to note is during different seasons of life, we have busier and slower moments. If you are in a busy season right now and your self-care, you typically take an hour a day, or maybe you take a whole entire day out of a week for self-care. That's fantastic. But maybe life has happened and you're in a season that you don't have that much time, but you can sprinkle in maybe a couple 10-minute time slots throughout the day for self-care. Know what you can do in a shortened time frame and what you can do in a longer time frame to pour into yourself. So that shortened time frame might be still snuggling up with a blanket and a book, but you're reading for 10 minutes instead of 30. Or it might be that you take a jog around the block on your lunch hour and just get a little bit of exercise if that's what calms you and is self-care for you. The second thing I want to talk about is realistic expectations. We compare ourselves to others, not knowing really all of the background information on the person that we're comparing to. They may have more time than us, less kids than us. They have a completely different life than us. So it is not realistic to expect your life to be able to look similar to theirs. Plus, their personality is not the same as yours. What they are good at, you might not have that as your strength. And what you are good at, they probably don't have as theirs. So know the boundaries, know your limits, set realistic expectations for yourself so you don't feel stressed that you didn't match that or you run out of time. You just don't have enough time to accomplish what you desire to accomplish to reach whatever. The third thing is time management. And oh my goodness, this can absolutely open your eyes as far as realistic expectations goes. I want to tell you a little story. When I was working full time, outside of the home, I would have one day off a week. And on that day off, as the week was going by, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to accomplish this on my day off. And then the next day I would think of something else that I would want to accomplish. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that on my day off. And then my day off would come and I would do some of the things, but the day would end and I would look back. I'm like, okay, why didn't I accomplish all of these things? I had the entire day off. This is crazy. And I would beat myself up over and over again, week after week. It was like a never ending cycle until I was like, okay, what can I do different? One of those things was actually writing down what I wanted to accomplish, because when I got to my day off, I a lot of times forgot what I was going to accomplish until maybe like 6 or 7 at night, and then it was too late to complete that item anyways. So I started writing things down. And then I looked at my list after I started working on it, and I'm like, okay, seriously, why can't I accomplish this? This is not going to take me but 5 hours. Why couldn't I get this all done? So then what I did is I plugged each of those things into a time slot. I knew what I was doing at 8, I knew what I was doing at 9, I knew what I was doing at 10, or had like a visual of what could be happening at those points in time. And I realized as I was planning out my day off that there is no way that I or really anyone could accomplish all of those things in a day, because I was forgetting the other things that I do on my day off, like bring my son to school and pick him up, like make dinner, like maybe go to a doctor's appointment that was scheduled because it's my day off and that's when things can get fit in, right? So I was looking at the list of things to get done, thinking that I had 10 hours to be able to accomplish all of those things, when in reality, there were things that were in my day already that needed to be accomplished that I wasn't accounting for. So if you are someone who likes extreme flexibility, when someone tells you to plug things into a time slot, it can be really super stressful. But let me tell you, one thing that I love the most about my life right now is the extreme flexibility that I have. And I definitely plug things into a time slot during the week. This allows me to be able to see what I can do, what needs to be delegated, and maybe some things that just need to not get done. They're not that important to stress over, and so they're just going to get dumped. So definitely plug things in to be able to see where you need to be and what you need to be doing in order to alleviate all of those realistic or unrealistic, I should say, expectations. The fourth is to say no without guilt. And I did find that when I would figure out my week and put a timestamp on everything that needs to be done, including laundry, including making dinner, including dishes, like the mundane things that everybody does every single week, when I would put a timestamp on those, it would allow me to see the bigger picture of what I actually do within a week. So, if you are someone that likes to please other people, and let's be real, to some point we all do, right? Um, this really allows you to say no to things without feeling guilty. So, what I had done when I was working full time before I really had time management under control is if someone asked me to volunteer for something, or maybe a friend just wanted to go to lunch or whatnot, and I did not have a scheduled appointment at that time. I didn't have a dentist appointment. My child didn't need to be somewhere. There wasn't something that actually had to be at that exact moment. I was always tempted to say yes, and many of the times I did. After I started creating more of a time block schedule, I was able to look to see what was actually going to be happening at that point in time in my day and be able to say yes or no appropriately. In the past, if I would have said yes, I may have gotten to Sunday and still not have laundry done and had to stay up late on Sunday night, so I had clothes to wear on Monday morning to work. Now, if I plugged everything in, I might see that when that person wanted to connect for lunch was when I had marked off to fold laundry, wash laundry, whatever it was. And I could then make an educated decision. Do I have space in my schedule to move laundry to a different day or a different time and be able to go to lunch? Or is it something that is really going to stress me out and build more and more stress and more layers, causing burnout, and really not worth it to do lunch on that day and that time? And maybe pick a different week, pick a week, a couple, or pick a day a couple weeks out. So that is something that time management can allow you, is just to say no without the guilt. And the fifth thing is to celebrate your achievements. And you may be thinking, as I was when I heard this, okay, there's nothing big to celebrate. I didn't get a promotion. There wasn't like something amazing that happens on a regular basis to celebrate. Yes, there is, my friend. Celebrate all of those small things. If you're listening to this today and you're thinking, I do want to plug in things like laundry or meal prep or whatever it is into my schedule just to see if things run a little bit smoother and find pockets of time that I have, or maybe pockets of time that I don't have and I need to get rid of some things on my plate, celebrate that. That is a huge win, just taking the time to look at that. And every little thing will add up to those big things. So the first step is celebrating all of the small, and then soon you will see the big. By incorporating these strategies into your life, I hope you're not just preventing burnout, but also reclaiming control and fostering a healthier, more balanced lifestyle. Remember, my friend, taking care of yourself is not a luxury, it's a necessity. I'll see you next time.